Welcome to our open house for the International Institute for Secular Humanistic Judaism. I'm Adam Shalom. In addition to being rabbi of a congregation in suburban Chicago, I'm the dean of the Institute, which is technically the International Institute for Secular Humanistic Judaism North American section, because we were started in North America, at least in an organizational structure manner. We originally were founded as an international institute in Jerusalem in 1985. And then over time, it's evolved, and we have two major centers now, one in North America and one based in Jerusalem called Tumurah, or Tumurah IISHJ. Our institute was founded to really provide three important functions for our movement. The first was that we wanted to train leaders, ultimately rabbis, people who could serve communities dedicated to the philosophy of secular and humanistic Judaism. The second was to provide adult learning opportunities for people who weren't necessarily training for professional roles, but wanted to deepen their knowledge and experience with our movement and with Jewish identity and history more broadly. And the third, related to number two, was to publish materials that would be of use for our movement and again for the broader Jewish world on philosophy, on history, on celebration, and on other important elements of a meaningful life and a meaningful Jewish life. And that's been the core of our mission since we were founded now just about 40 years ago. It was actually in the summer of 1985, so it's been a little over 40 years. Neither Jonathan Friedmann nor myself were involved at that time in the movement. I don't even think we were out of high school at that point. But it's a great pleasure to be working with Jonathan, and he'll be talking in more detail about our professional programs, and then I'll come back to talk about the adult learning and publications programs that we offer. If you have any questions or comments as we're going along, feel free to add those into the chat, and we're happy to respond to those as we go along. And with that, I'll turn it over to Cantor Jonathan Friedmann, who is our Director of Admissions and also one of our associate professors at the Institute. Jonathan, please take it away.
All right, thank you. I'm based in Los Angeles, in case you're wondering. I'm the leader of Adat Chaverim Congregation for Humanistic Judaism in the LA area. So as was mentioned, I'll kind of take you through the website a little bit. All the information that I'll be presenting is really there, but I can highlight a few things for you regarding the three programs that we have, which are the Rabbinic program, the Leadership program, and the Officiant program. And you could tell us later which one you might be interested in. So just very briefly, again, it's all very nice on our newly revamped website. But you can see that, of course, the Rabbinic program is the most comprehensive of the programs, the most commitment level that you'll have from the three programs, as you might expect. And the admissions requirements reflect that. In addition to being a member of Humanistic Judaism, of the movement or of a congregation, which is a requirement across the board, there's also additional expectations in terms of classical Hebrew reading proficiency. Doesn't mean that, the comprehension proficiency, it's contextual. Some people are really expert in Hebrew, others can get by in what a rabbi needs to do, and that's a part of the process to figure out where you stand with that. But as you can see, our completion of the application process does include, in addition to the application form and essays and transcripts, the normal stuff, you'll also be required to do advanced psychological screening just to make sure that you're suitable for the program. And after all that, we'll have an admissions committee if all goes well. And I should say before all of this too, Adam and I are available for a more personalized meeting for anyone who's interested in our programs to kind of answer questions and, again, pre-screen to see if these sorts of things that we offer are really right for you. A big requirement, though, for ordination, in addition to the courses that we offer through our rabbinic program is the completion of accredited master's degree in a Jewish studies field. And this can be done before entering the rabbinic program. You can do this while you're in the program, but you can't graduate from the program without having that. So again, depending on your situation and where you are in your advanced Jewish learning, we would work with you with that as well. There are a number of online master's programs now in Jewish studies fields, which are a little more convenient, of course, and so forth. But all in all, this is, again, the most rigorous and the longest of our programs. So following that, we have our leadership program, which, a lot of the responsibilities of the rabbi, which are leading a community, organizing events, ceremonies, educational programs, all of that, that is also reflected in the leadership program. So if your goal is really more community oriented, it's not a necessity for you to be the expert on Judaism that a rabbi would be. The leadership program might be a good option for you. It's an abbreviated program, still quite rigorous, but again, not the same level of commitment as the rabbinic program. The admissions requirements here are simpler, as you can see. There is still the advanced screening of psychological evaluation for this program as well. And just to show, I think at the bottom, there are 5 areas of expertise that you'll get from the leadership program. One is educator, educational consultant. The other is to be a philosophical consultant or spokesperson, philosophical counselor. This really is more of the one-on-one sort of helping people through life issues and so forth. Being a community administrator, festival ceremonialist, and life cycle ceremonialist. So again, much of the responsibilities of the rabbi without the advanced education and all that comes with that, or the title, right? And third is the officiant program, which is really designed for life cycle officiants primarily. So the requirements are less. This is the shortest of our programs. Again, you can see the competency areas: create, coordinate, and deliver a secular humanistic Jewish life cycle ceremony, including ceremonial writing and officiating, basic ideas, secular humanism, perhaps being able to teach some of these things in community, and again, some of the philosophical guidance that comes with that training as well. And all of the programs I should have mentioned also have fieldwork requirements. The rabbinic program has, again, additional requirements. Leadership has more requirements than the officiant, but you can see all of that for yourself. I don't need to waste any more of your time with this. But if you have questions, we're here to answer those today as well.
I'll also mention that we're doing open houses for each of the professional programs in the coming months. We'll have one for the officiant program in September, and then following that, programs specifically on the rabbinic program and on the leadership program. The leadership program was actually our first program. We founded in 1987 in North America. That was when we held our first seminars. And back then it was in-person seminars or nothing. Nowadays, most of the classes that are taught are online, which means we don't have a residential requirement. We do have occasional in-person intensive weeks or 2 weeks that the students come together. The leadership program students have a few professional skills classes like that. The rabbinic students have a little bit more, but it generally follows that pattern that Jonathan described of rigor and requirements, how many hours are involved, the amount of reading involved. It sort of tracks. I sort of think of it as associate's degree, undergraduate degree, graduate degree, and the rabbinic is the graduate, leadership is like the undergraduate, and the associate's degree would be like the officiant program. I don't see any questions or comments in the chat. Again, if things come up or things come to mind as we go along, please feel free to jump in. So I want to take over now and talk briefly about our adult learning opportunities, which, as I said, is a core mission of our movement. And for this, I am going to take a little bit more of a tour through the website. Although in this case, we're going to be starting with the adult learning pages because one of the reasons we revamped our website in the last year was to try to make it much more accessible for people looking to learn on their own, that they don't only have to go through our professional programs. Now, the adult learning programs of the Institute are organized by topic. So we tried to take trying to organize knowledge into categories is sometimes a very challenging thing to do. We did our best. And you'll see when you go to the adult learning pages on the website, you've got these various categories, Bible or Torah, humanism as a philosophy, issues related to Israel and Zionism, topics on Jewish culture, and so on. And so you've got those broken out here. And then if you go into a particular page, like the page on Bible and Torah, let's say, you'll have an overview discussion here, description, and then you've got resources that are gathered together from various places and various styles of online resources. So we had a colloquium conference that we hosted many years ago on archaeology in the Bible. And so if you click on that link, you'll go to the description of that particular conference. And that also includes links to all of the videos of the presentations that were held at that presentation, at that conference, rather. Or you'll see a link for articles on the Bible by Rabbi Sherwin Wine. This takes you to an archive site that we created for our founding thinker, Sherwin Wine, that includes a number of essays that he wrote on this particular subject. And I'll take you to the Sherwin Wine site in a little bit. Sometimes we have publications. This book, for example, Quest for the Historical Israel, was actually the product of that conference on archaeology in the Bible. So sometimes we have publications that came out related to the topic being explored on this page, and it'll direct you to those. And I'll take you to our publications page in a bit as well. Sometimes you'll see a video playlist, and we try to make this as clear as possible, whether this is written or audio or video. So here is a video playlist that's on our YouTube channel that is a collection of Torah portion discussions. As you may know, the Torah, the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible, is divided into approximately 54 portions. Sometimes they're doubled up depending on the week and the calendar. But here we've tried to organize video presentations of our humanistic commentary on these various Torah portions. It's not 100% complete. We still got about 20 left to fill in, which we're working on. But you can see that there's a lot of options here for exploring. If you want to look up the Torah portion of the week and then come to that page, you can certainly find those videos there. So that's an example of what's on the Bible learning. If you go to humanism, you'll see, again, articles on ethics, articles on humanism, a publication on daily meditations for spiritual humanists, a number of other books that are relevant to humanism. This Secular Spirituality is both a book that we published and a conference that we held. So this takes you to the page that talks about the conference, but it also has a link to the publication. So there's a lot of independent learning opportunities, some audio interviews, video playlists of topics related to humanism on our channel. The point is, this is a very deep and rich resource. So if you're looking to explore Jewish life in a particular area, we encourage you to go and take a look at the resources that we've gathered here. And this is a dynamic project as well. We're hoping to continue to add resources as they become available, or deepen even the video playlists or audio playlists that we have. So those are always expanding as well. Now, a core method that Jews have used to learn is reading. You may have heard somewhere that we're called the people of the book. More accurately, it should be the people of the books, because we didn't stop with just the Torah or just the Hebrew Bible. We kept adding books. In fact, that's why there's a Hebrew Bible, because they didn't stop with the Torah. They added more books and then called that a Bible, and then kept writing books and then called that a Talmud. And so we're part of a Jewish tradition by adding more and more books. So on our publications page, you'll see they're organized by various topics. We have some books related to our philosophy of Secular Humanistic Judaism. We have books on Jewish history. We have books for inspiration, personal self-help, spirituality, morning meditation practice, books on the Jewish experience and Jewish culture, and some other educational resources that are here as well, including a basic philosophy book and a book on exploring the Bible, written for sixth graders, but I know a lot of adults that get a lot out of that one too. So we have these books, by the way, in print and in ebook. If your preference is ebook, we actually have a separate page that lists all the books that are available on ebook. And if you're shopping just for an ebook, you can find them that way too. Obviously, you can also look on the Barnes & Noble platform for the Nook or the Amazon platform for the Kindle, iBooks, Kobo, and there's some other formats as well. You may find them even through your local library. Sometimes people have online access to books that include our books, and it's great that you can find it that way too. And then the other thing I wanted to point out is that a number of our books have study guides that we've developed. So if you're part of a community that's looking to learn together, then you can do that by using the study guide. And these were developed by our rabbinic students and other members of our student body as they were studying. So here's an example of a study guide for Judaism Beyond God, broken out by each chapter, giving you some leading questions, references to page numbers if you want to turn back and talk about them specifically or look at the passage in context. And the hope is that a local community would have, a facilitator who's reading a couple chapters ahead and is using these discussion questions to enable a wonderful conversation among the members. And after all, this is one of the ways to deepen your knowledge of a book is to discuss it. There's an old Jewish tradition of it's called studying in chavruta or in partnership, where you have a partner that you study and you argue with, and you sort of sharpen your own understanding by talking about it with someone else. And these discussion guides can be helpful for that. An individual could use this too, just as a way to think through the issues, but it certainly could work for a community. And if the community is looking to get a number of copies of the books all at once, they should contact our office, and you can order the books in bulk from the office at a discount if you're buying 10 or more copies of the book at once. For individual purchases, you can buy them directly from Amazon, or you can contact our office. There's usually links for those sale references on the page. And you can also always contact our office directly. You've got a phone number and email there. One specific publication I wanted to reference, because it bridges to our other adult learning opportunities, is Introduction to Secular Humanistic Judaism. This is a 3-part adult education curriculum comprising 50 lessons in total that covers Jewish history, Jewish culture, and the roots and philosophy of secular humanistic Judaism. This is actually a great way to deepen your knowledge of Jewish identity more broadly, for people looking for a kind of a conversion or adoption process to become acclimated to Jewish life. This can be a great way to get a good grounding on it. And in fact, you'll come out of it knowing more than a lot of people raised Jewish. So it'll put you ahead on that front. And what we've done with this site post-COVID, when we started teaching everything online, is we actually recorded all of the sessions when I was teaching this live for my community in Chicago. So we have the texts are involved here, and you can have some sample lessons that are listed here. But this also links to video playlists on Introduction to Jewish History we have on our Jewish History page. And that'll take you to the playlist based on the class. And often if there's discussion questions, they're presented on the screen, and you'll see how that flows through the class. So you have the entire class recorded here and available to watch on your own. You can even watch it on 1 1/4 speed. It still sounds okay. So you get through it in a little bit less time. So that's an overview of our publications, again, available for independent study, for group study, and for personal exploration. I also wanted to mention that embedded in a lot of those adult learning pages, for example, if I go to the Jewish History page, you'll see there's that Introduction to Jewish History. We have articles on Jewish history by Sherwin Wine that gets to his site. We'll talk about it a bit. And you'll have a video playlist of Jewish history discussions. These are all kinds of other one-off topics that we've done for broader adult learning that are available on our YouTube channel. So you'll see there's stuff by me, stuff by Sherwin Wine, stuff by other faculty people, and it really provides a rich opportunity to explore Jewish history in different ways. Your best bet to explore our videos is to go directly to our YouTube channel, which is IISHJ vid. You can just type in youtube.com/IISHJ vid. It takes you here. And if you go to playlists, that's the easiest way to browse your way through. Here you've got all the different categories here organized. You also have past conferences and seminars. I did a class on rediscovering Jewish diversity. That's all in one place. We have our standalone adult learning programs, all in one list. They're sorted into categories higher up. We have past colloquium conferences if you want to relive what that conference was like with all the speakers in a row. It's all there. We've got a short frequently asked questions of secular humanistic Judaism. We've got that Torah portion playlist I mentioned before. So there's really a wide variety of opportunities to explore. One other note, we even organize by speaker sometimes if we had somebody who spoke at a number of conferences or has a lot of useful material. So that's another resource. If you like videos or like to just listen to it on audio while you're doing other things, this is a great way to explore some more. And then finally, I wanted to mention the Sherwin-Wine tribute website that we put together. This is really an archive of the ideas and the presentations that Sherwin-Wine put together over a long career as the first and founding rabbi of humanistic Judaism, starting in 1963 all the way until his death in 2007. You'll see here, these are organized into various categories: humanistic Judaism, Judaism more generally, and then subcategories like Jewish culture. If you go to Jewish culture, what you find here are a variety of articles. And if you click on the article, it takes you there. You'll see links to videos. So this takes you to a video presentation of a short answer to this important question of passing on Jewish identity. If you see it says audio, that's going to show you a link, a list of all different audio lectures that Sherwin gave on various topics. And you can browse through and see all kinds of interesting subjects that he was interested in covering, everything from Marrano Jews or crypto Jews to a debate between Rabbi Meir Kahana and Sherwin-Wine from 1978, the experience of Jews in the Muslim world or in Muslim Spain, Jewish life in New York, in Odessa. He did a lot of travel. In fact, that's why you'll notice in this section on the world, you have discussions of all kinds of different areas on North Africa, Southern Africa, the Americas, South America, articles about his experiences traveling there, different videos discussing those issues. So it's a really wonderful resource just for general knowledge, not only learning about Sherwin-Wine, which you can do with a detailed bibliography and biography. You can connect to his books that are accessible, or learning more about our movement and his articles on our roots. We also have some of the service meditations and songs that he wrote. The texts are collected here as well. And then the other thing I wanted to mention, if you are interested in audio only, and then I'll stop with this, is the audio hosting for these topics is on a platform called SoundCloud. And so if you go to SoundCloud and you search for IISHJ or IISHJ_wine, you'll find this list of audio files. It's something like 3,000 audio lectures. It's easiest to sort by playlist because then you'll see them by specific areas. Here's 23 tracks on movie reviews where he watched the movie and talked about what it was like. So if there's a movie you loved and you find it there, it might be interesting to hear what Sherwin had to say about it. He talks about all kinds of knowledge all over the world, Asian religions, African history. I mean, he really was a Renaissance man in his own way. And most of these audio files were recorded at a program he ran called the Center for New Thinking, which was an opportunity for him to explore all over the world in all kinds of subjects, not only Jewish or humanistic Jewish subjects, although there are a fair number of those here too. We tried to make it easier by organizing it onto this Sherwin-Wine tribute site by subject so that you have both articles and the audio files linked there. So when you see audio on that file, that's going to just bring in the audio file that's on SoundCloud, and you could just play it right from here. But if you just like audio itself, or if you happen to use SoundCloud, this is where you would find those resources. I'll also point out, finally, because part of our mission is providing adult learning, the vast majority of this material is available for free. You can get to all those thousands of audio lectures on SoundCloud for free. You can watch all those videos on YouTube for free. You might have an ad or two, but otherwise it's free. You can read all of the articles on sherwinwine.com for free and all of the materials we link to on our website. We do sell a few books because, after all, if we're humanists, nothing runs on miracles. So we do occasionally need some funding to help promote what we do, and selling books is one way to do that. But the vast majority of material that we've linked to and that we have available here are opportunities to learn for free. And we find that an important part of our mission. So we want to continue to make those resources available. Occasionally, we will do in-person seminars or programs or online seminars or programs, and those we promote through the broader movement. Usually there's some kind of registration fee for that to be part of the live experience. But this is really a core part of our mission, to provide these publications and to provide these adult learning opportunities. And so with that, that's really the overview of who we are and what we do. We do have another faculty person who isn't able to make it today, Rabbi Miriam Jairus, who is the rabbi of the Society for Humanistic Judaism and is also our professor of professional development at the Institute, associate professor of professional development. She helps our students work through their projects and their field work. She teaches some of our courses for the leadership and the officiant program and the rabbinic program as well. And she's been working in a leadership capacity in our movement for almost 40 years. So it's great to be able to draw on her experience and knowledge for our students as well, but she wasn't able to make this open house. Jonathan, anything to add to any of that?
No, I think that was a lot. I'm hoping that our attendees are inspired. I am curious, because it wasn't part of registration, which programs they might be looking for, if anyone wants to share about that. Rabbinic, leadership, officiant, all of the above, couple of them.
Or just adult learning or who we are and what we do. Yeah.
This is Greg. So my interest was mainly the adult learning and the different options there, and it looks very rich. And so I was really glad to learn that. And maybe as I go through that, I will be further inspired to pursue one of the tracks. So
Great.
I'm also wondering if some of the audio, like for Sherwin Wine's audio, could even be uploaded, as a podcast kind of thing, so people can.
Yeah, so we've talked about that. There's so much, it's almost too much, And if there were a way to automate every week pull a random audio file from SoundCloud and put it in a podcast, we would do that. The other challenge with the audio material is some of it, the audio is a little fuzzy because it was from tapes converted to digital files, but en masse, so not always cleaned up. So we'd have to have a quality control check. And so we have thought about that. And honestly, YouTube now does podcasting and you can turn videos into simply an audio podcast. And since we have now, hundreds of videos on the YouTube channel, we might think about doing it that way instead. But yes, I know podcasting is the new frontier, that and short form video. And we are kicking and screaming being dragged into the 2020s. So a podcast is probably in the future. Liviu, and then Rick.
Yeah, I was more curious about adult learning as well. I was also curious what was the difference between the leadership and the rabbinic program.
Great.
And there are many resources that I did not know about, and I'm really eager to learn, I guess.
Wonderful. I forgot to mention one thing with the website, both the Sherwin Wine site and our site, and that is that you can translate the site into other languages almost instantaneously. So for people who are not native English speakers, it might be easier to work in a different language. So you'll notice that on the Institute site, it says English at the top, but you can change it into a number of different languages, and then it changes everything into that language. And the same is true on the Sherwin Wine site. So let's say I wanted to look at an article that Sherwin wrote about humanism. So here's an article from 1973, but I want to read it in Yiddish. There it is. The whole site is translated into Yiddish, including the specific article, because it's a text on the site. Or if you want to use a more conventional German, you could do it that way too. But the point is to make it accessible. And one other accessibility detail to highlight is on our videos. If you're actually playing a video, you can automatically put captions on the bottom that auto translate. So you just go to, you turn on the captions and you go to the settings, and one of the options is auto translate, and then you can pick from 100 languages, and you'll have captions that are in the language that you prefer, And so then any of our videos are that much more accessible for anybody to learn from anywhere. Rick, please.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for doing this. It really is an incredible set of resources that you've developed, and that was the main reason that I joined in. As you might know, I tried to organize a community here in Gainesville, Florida, the Gainesville Humanistic Judaism community, and it was challenging. It was challenging to build a community basically from scratch. And even though it's nominally still alive, I found that I was able to put together good programs based on the resources that you provide, as well as from the society. And I wasn't aware of everything that you indicated. But what I think I really need is some better organizing skills. And I'm wondering whether that's a main focus of either of your rabbinical or leadership programs.
Well, we can't organize your own papers for you. Like that level of organization is up to you. But we do have a major class that's part of both the rabbinic and the leadership programs called Leadership and Management in Community. And the idea is to give students the knowledge and the expertise, or at least the beginnings of it, to be able to organize a set of programs, to promote those programs, to do some nonprofit management, to get a board together, to encourage enthusiasm from that board, to do some membership recruitment. That's all part of the curriculum for that course. So that is an important part of what we do. I realize we didn't answer Liviu's second question about the leadership in rabbinic. Jonathan, did you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so I'm sure you can address it more thoroughly than I can. But so the rabbinic program, again, is a more comprehensive program. It does require more mastery and specifically a master's degree in Jewish studies. So you are becoming a master in the field in addition to our program. So, graduates of our program get their master's from that degree or from that program, and then also complete 62 credits of academic work plus thesis plus field work in the rabbinic program. So it's quite an extensive program. And it does prepare you for, broader expertise in the Jewish world. You can join rabbinic organizations. You have that kind of status. And it does offer some of our students the opportunity to work in universities as chaplains or professors and so forth. So it really is that higher level, like Adam was saying, the master's program of the three. The leadership program is more of the undergraduate program. Many students actually, I don't know if it's many, but some have gone from the leadership into the rabbinic program, as kind of a stepping stone to see if they wanted to go all the way. So they would start out with the leadership program. Some start with the officiant and go into leadership. So there is that continued learning opportunity as well for those who want to go to the next level. But the leadership program is much more abbreviated. It's still, again, provides you with the tools and knowledge and resources necessary to run a community, to do life cycle events, to be a leader on a smaller scale. But certainly the rabbinic program is more robust.
I can give you one other example. Both the leadership and the rabbinic program have a requirement to take a class on the intellectual roots of our movement. So it's everything from wisdom literature in the Bible to medieval Jewish philosophy to the Zionist movement, the Yiddish socialist movement, and a lot of other secular approaches to Jewish identity. For the leadership program, they have to do a 1-credit class that's about 12 hours worth of seminar time. It's actually an independent study, but it's based on a in-person seminar that was 12 hours. The rabbinic level version of that class is a 6-credit class that is 72 hours worth of seminar time. So it's much more rigorous, 6 times as much, in fact. And similarly for our basic philosophy class, it's a 1-credit class, 12 hours. For the leadership students, it's a 3-credit class, 36 hours. For the rabbinic students, the readings are commensurately more extensive and complicated. So, it's like a graduate level class versus the undergraduate introduction to the subject. It's designed for people. The rabbinic program is designed for people who want to make a career out of this pursuit. A leadership program graduate could have like a side gig as being a leader, but it's not envisioned to be a full-time professional position. Greg, hand up again.
Okay, let me lower my hand here. Yeah, just wanted to mention I have been going through the Bible series of videos. I've been enjoying those very much, and because I think that's something that humanistic Jews have an uncomfortable relationship with it. It's on the one hand the origin story of the Jews. I mean, no Bible, no Jews, so it's pretty central. But on the other hand, there's a lot of you know. Uh, non-reason in there. So but I did want to give a plug for that. I think it's a great exploration of it. And I'm helping Makar, my congregation, to modernize and update its website. And so I'm looking for some resources on secular humanistic Judaism, because I've read a lot of descriptions of it on various sources trying to describe it. We'd like to condense it and have a really tight, just a few paragraphs, or just, I don't know, maybe even an infographic, something people can almost scan to really get the gist of it. And so I might share some things with your group actually.
Great.
If you have some resources to suggest. I did see that 3-part series as one thing, but
Yeah, those are extensive. What might actually be more helpful is the frequently asked questions playlist, because those give like 3 to 6 minute videos that answer a couple of very basic questions as straightforward and as simply as possible. And these might be the kind of questions that people looking at your community would ask. Who are you to create a new kind of Judaism? Or do you or do you not believe in God? And how do you answer that question? In those videos, I give my best answers to those in as concisely but generally as positively as I can, so that you can use that or transcriptions of that, or even drop the clip in on the site, and that can be a useful approach to that. The other thing I'd suggest is on the Institute's Facebook page. We've been doing a lot of over the last several years, doing a lot of graphics and trying to tell our story visually and not just in words. Our movement historically has been very verbal, and we figure, oh, if words are good, more words are better. And so we write longer. But for a website, or for people scanning, or for the Instagram era, you need a visual that's more arresting, or that tells your story in visual language. So several years ago, we started trying to develop memes or images that told our story visually and not just in print. If you go to the Institute's Facebook page and you go to our pictures or photos, you can browse through some of those past posts, and you might find some of those, if you give us credit, that'd be nice, but you might find some of those that can convey the message concisely as well.
Great, thanks.
Rick, did you want to jump back in?
Yes. A few months ago, the Sunday Assembly in Gainesville invited me to give a presentation on the institutions of humanistic Judaism. And in doing that research, it reconfirmed to me the extraordinary networking that Sherwin Wine did in creating multiple institutions, whether it was just for humanistic Judaism or with other humanistic movements. And the intellectuals that he brought into his sphere were just extraordinary. And I was wondering if you could tell me what you're doing to sort of to continue this legacy. It's almost impossible to do, but I mean, they really made us what we are today in terms of the humanistic Judaism movement.
Well, so part of what we've tried to do is to make our message more relevant. And sometimes it's individual outreach, one-on-one to particular scholars, or inviting them to participate in programs. One thing that Jonathan's been working on since he joined the Institute is doing these individual adult learning videos where he'll interview somebody who's written an interesting book, who's done an interesting body of scholarship that's relevant to who we are, and that's doing that outreach in a more one-to-one kind of way. We recently helped to develop and publish a book called Contemporary Humanistic Judaism, which was published by the Jewish Publication Society, part of their anthologies of Jewish thought. So there's a volume on conservative Judaism, a volume on Reform Judaism, and now a volume on humanistic Judaism that's part of that library that's on that shelf. And ideally, that opens the door for us to being part of university classes on Jewish studies. We've done a series of mailings to heads of Jewish studies departments to encourage them to pass word about the book on to their colleagues who are teaching classes relevant to this. I was interviewed on the Jewish Broadcasting Network over the summer about the book, and that's, again, trying to spread the message more broadly. So we're still trying to maintain those connections with the academic world. The one thing that we haven't done are these colloquium conferences where Sherwin would bring together 10 or 15 different speakers. I attended those conferences. I was a lot younger than I am now, and even then, they were 4 days of lectures all day long, and it was exhausting for the participants and for the presenters too. It's great now because we get to watch the videos. They're all developed. But we also found when we tried to do colloquium conferences in the 2010s that people just weren't interested in traveling for events as much anymore. Why would you spend the time, the airfare, and the hotel when you can just watch it online? And so it became harder and harder to make the economics of those kind of conferences work. So we don't have the big bring everyone together conference the way that we used to, but we're doing it a little bit more one-on-one or individual program by individual program.
Yes, I was curious, how recognized are the programs outside of the humanistic Judaism sphere?
Good question. So on a legal level, all of our graduates are legally able to officiate at wedding ceremonies that are recognized by the government. In that, we are ahead of Israel because no non-Orthodox clergy are recognized to do anything legal in Israel or to do a burial in a state cemetery, or etc. So on some level, we're more free, all of our officiants, than our parallel sister program to Morah in Israel are able to create leaders. In terms of recognition from the broader Jewish community, our rabbis serve as members of boards of rabbis in many cities. They've occasionally had trouble. We had a rabbi in Toronto who was declined membership, but in that case, it was a question of officiating intermarriages, not a question of her training or expertise. We've had rabbis accepted in Washington, D.C., in San Francisco, in Chicago, I think where else, in Boston, in Detroit, and a number of other areas where they're working professionally. So our rabbis are recognized by the broader Jewish community. Now, whether or not every rabbi in town will refer weddings to them or will include them in the spectrum of Jewish life, that's up to the rabbi. I've had conservative rabbis who are more welcoming and Reform rabbis who are more rejecting, and you can't account for what their choices are going to be. But we are more and more recognized in terms of people having heard of us and actually knowing something about us. And over time, they have more and more experiences. They've been to a bar or bat mitzvah or seen a wedding or experienced a funeral that one of our leaders or officiants or rabbis have done. When you're a leader or an officiant, it's sometimes a little harder because you don't have that title rabbi that everybody knows. Our leaders do get a title in Yiddish or in Hebrew, Wegweiser, meaning someone who knows the way, or Madrich, Madricha, or Madriche is a gender neutral form for the leadership program. So they have a title, but it's not a title anybody knows. Or in some places, Madrich is a camp counselor. So it's a title that's not being used the way they're used to hearing it. So for the officiants and the Madrichim, Madrichot, it's a little bit trickier to get recognition. But, nowadays, people are life cycle officiants as a profession. They hang a shingle out there, they advertise on websites, and that's what they do. So it's actually, we're in line with the curve in having that as an opportunity. We just provide the Jewish training that a Jewish or Jewish connected couple, if one of the partners is Jewish, might want to see for their ceremony. Well, thank you so much for joining us and for exploring this, or if you're watching this video, who knows how far later. Thanks for exploring more about the Institute. You may even see a clip of this in a short form video sometime in the future. But we really appreciate taking the time. If you want to visit our website, I'll say the site because we didn't actually read it out loud. It's www.iishj.org. So you can find us online, and all of what we've discussed today is linkable and accessible from that website portal.
I will say as well, if you want a follow-up meeting, just more intimate with Adam and I, if you have any more specific questions or you want to pursue any path with us, you can request that through our website as well.
Yep. Each program has a specific inquiry form, or you can just email info@iishj.org and it will get passed along to us. All right. Thank you all very much.